Hello and welcome. This is Rooflemonger, and this is my Terminator guide for Mortal Kombat 11. So Terminator being a new DLC character, obviously, and hey, he's got some fun stuff, to say the least. So as always with these kind of guides, probably going to be a long video. There will be timestamps in the video description if you want to skip around, and we'll be covering a wide variety of topics, from the baby basics to more advanced concepts and a lot of points in between. So let's just start with the basics here, and let's just go over his base move set. So to talk about his basic move set here, he only has 3 special moves without any of the variations. The variations does add a lot and also changes a lot about how the character works. So the first basic special move here is the sawed-off shotgun, and hey, as advertised, right? It's a sawed-off shotgun. That's pretty simple, right? The move is a little bit on the slower side here. Comes in at 31 frames to start up here, which is a little slow for a projectile. Also, just so you know, it is a true high, so you can duck it all you want. Ducking it will make it go over the character's head. However, it does have a crushing blow, and the crushing blow requires that the move at any point in the match misses twice. And, well, that's probably going to happen, right? But that said, that's fine, because once it misses twice, at that point, it's a very easy move to hit confirm into off a basic string, and you can get your crushing blow from there, so hey, that's handy, right? We will talk about it a bit more later in the video, as there's a lot of applications of the shotgun that aren't as immediately obvious, especially when it comes to enhancing it. And speaking of enhancing it, you can walk forwards or backwards while doing it, just so you know, but we'll leave that to later in the video. So the Gorilla Press Slam, that is his universal command grab, although it is changed up in one of the variations. And he just grabs and he dunks you something fierce on your head. So once again, he'll always have a command grab in every one of his 3 variations. Unlike many characters that have a command grab, the command grab is like, okay, it's only in this variation or whatever. This is the grab variation. For Terminator, every variation is the grab variation. It's the other stuff about the variations that make it unique, right? He's always meant to be a grappler at some level, regardless of what variation he is in. And this move has 2 layers of enhancement, actually. So the base move by itself will dunk you on the other side, and you can't control that, I'm sorry to say. If you enhance it on startup here, it will dunk them in front and do a bit more damage. But you can also hold down and enhance the move, and if you do, gives you a big old bonk on the head here, and he leaves you standing. So say I do a bit of a combo here. So I do the combo, I do that grab, and they're still standing at the end of this grab. So what this means is, like say if I knock you down, you can roll left, you can roll right, you can wake up with your wake up 2, wake up 3, all that kind of stuff. You can delay your wake up. This removes all those options. You can't do a dang thing about it. You just are now neutral again, and I am significantly advantage over you. I will recover 10 frames of animation faster than you will, so I can start moving around, I can start attacking well before you can. That's a big part of this character. Frame advantage in general is a big part of how this character goes. So hey, I'm gonna be talking a lot about that kind of stuff, right? But yeah, suffice to say, Terminator is definitely a grappler. And the final of our 3 base special moves is Killing Machine, where he'll just basically turn his back here, and while he's turning his back, and I'm holding it by the way, the longer you hold the button, the longer he'll do it. While he's turning his back, he's basically full-on invulnerable to all forms of projectiles. So you can shoot like a bunch of Kano knives at him, they'll all bounce off. You can shoot Jax's grenade at him, bounces off, all that fun stuff. Now a big thing to note about this, and maybe this will be patched a little bit later on here, the move itself, it says it has 1 frame of startup, meaning it should become active 1 frame into the move, and that is not correct, just so you guys know. So if it had 1 frame startup, you could easily reaction, split second, stop any single projectile coming your way, right? But that is unfortunately not the case in the game as it currently stands. So if I set the enemy here to shoot one of Devora's bugs, what's going to happen is I'm going to get smacked if I try to do it like at the last possible second here. See, it says counter hit. So definitely not 1 frame startup, which is unfortunate, but still, as far as it goes, if you know you got a wild barrage of projectiles coming for you, especially if someone's enhancing it and there's multiple projectiles, you can do it, and you can easily weather the storm. No chip damage, no nothing. You're just full-on vulnerable to it. Now, to speak on his notable normals, the first 2 that obviously have to dominate the whole conversation is 4-2 and 4-3-2, because this is like one of the this is like the heart and soul Terminator almost, right? So what this is a true 50-50. So forward 3-2 is a low overhead, and forward 2 is just an overhead. And they start up here, 19 frames forward 3, and forward 2 is 18 frames. So it's effectively at the same time. There's only a single frame difference, 1 frame, 1/60th of 1 second difference, which means no human being can possibly react. They have to just guess, hey, coin flip, heads or tails. You get hit by tails, sometimes you get hit by head, right? Now these moves are a bit slower, to be sure, so if you're just in someone's face here without anything else to back you up, like frame advantage or something, you just go for it. You're probably going to get hit out of it before anything even really happens, to be sure. But still, in the end, this is basically the big threat of Terminator, besides, you know, he has a lot of stuff, to be sure, right? But the fact that he can overhead you or low you in this game is a very big deal, as basically nobody can do this. Even a character like Sonya has it a bit, right? Sonya has to commit to at least one regular normal before she can go for overhead or low. And these are both combo starters. Like at the very least, 4-2 has a can animation if you don't want to do a combo. 4-2 can also go directly into shotgun, which can crushing blow and get a lot of damage off that. Forward 3-2 bounces, so you can get very easy combos off that. Like here's a very basic example, right? Check my combo guide if you want to see better examples. But no matter what, you're taking them to the cleaners, right? And they just have to guess high or low. And if you like making people guess, if you like throwing coin flips at characters, this is your guy, because there's no one else like this. Like I've said this before, but he's effectively like a Mortal Kombat X character in Mortal Kombat 11, because Mortal Kombat X is infamous for its coin flip 50-50s across the cast, right? For sure. And with Mortal Kombat 11, people react to that because a lot of people didn't like coin flips necessarily. And so, for the most part, Mortal Kombat 11 is a much more toned down game. And then all of a sudden, Terminator walks in, low, overhead, full combo, either way, let's go. So yeah, if you want to force coin flips on an enemy, you will not find a better character than the Terminator. So, outside of 4-2 and 4-3-2, because you know these are the showstoppers, right? He does have a lot of other good normals, fantastic normals even. So let's talk about him. One of the big ones here is forward 4. So forward 4 has a lot of range, like basically connects from the round 1 start position, as you can see here, and is special cancelable, just so you know. And a lot of variations want to do some special cancel stuff off forward 4, which we'll talk about later in the video. But yeah, the range is extreme, 16 frame startup, which is respectable considering the range you have, right? Maybe you won't be doing it up front, but the fact that you can, you know, do it from further away, and breathing hitboxes do affect it, I'm sorry to say, as you just saw. But you can do it from further away. It's special cancelable. It's a mid, so no neutral ducking it or any of that fun stuff, right? It's just downright a workhorse of a normal. Throughout all 3 variations, I think you'll find yourself using it a fair bit because it's just good. It has range, speed, power. It's a mid. Like, what more do you want? Speaking of basic stuff here, down 4. So down 4, everyone's got a down 4. Everyone's got their little poke, right? So Terminator's down 4 is pretty good. So it comes in 10 frames, which isn't the fastest down 4, but it's got the range. And sometimes that's just what you need here. 13 frames hit advantage. So while it's not a true jail, something like this, dash forward, forward 4, hey, that's going to work, right? They hit a button, they're going to get smacked. They try to jump, you rip them out of the air. That's just kind of, you know, basic synergy, right? Down 4, a very solid poke. And of course, hey, let's just talk about solid. Yo, down 1 is he got a 6-framer. So he's in a very exclusive club. Almost nobody has a 6-frame down 1. Almost everybody has 7 frames. And then you have some people like Collector, you know, has 8 frames, right? That sucks. But, yeah, 6-frame down 1, really, really good. Also, hey, so we talked about that kind of stuff here. Let's just get this out of the way here. When we're talking normals here, I know a lot of people have been making a lot of rounds on the internet here about down 3. So down 3, yeah, I am well aware it looks quite a bit silly. But the one thing that works in down 3's favor is no matter how silly it looks, it is the single best anti-air in this game. This is basically Space Defense Fortress Terminator, because there's nothing getting in against this no-fly zone here. So say we set up, you know, just a basic jump, and Devora has one of the better jump ones in the game, right? Nah, not even close. Like, look at this. Look at how far away I'm ripping you. Like, to be hit by a jump attack with Terminator, because he has this move, you effectively have to be asleep at the wheel. because this just crushes everything. And of course, like then you get, you know, your baby combos off it. There's a lot of things you can do here. It really depends on just your spacing and, you know, your awareness. As I'm going for back one, it's not working here. There we go. But yeah, you can always get even a baby conversion bare minimum, and some variations have very specific conversions that can work very well. Like the destroyer variation, you can get down 3 right into the anti-air grab EX full combo without even having to think about it. Down 3 is 100% the best anti-air in the game. So hey, you can laugh at it all you want, but it gets results. So let's talk the variations here. So Terminator is blessed with 3 good variations. I know a lot of people, a lot of characters, like, yo, you pick the character and you have the variation, right? There's 3 variations, but you have the variation you actually pick, and the other 2, nice try, but you're not going to worry about them, right? I legit think all 3 are good, and that's fantastic. So yeah, this one, Destroyer here, he's, well, Terminator, yo, as we went over in the normal section here, notable normals, he's all about the 50-50, right? So this kind of exacerbates on that. So we have our 3 special moves here. We have our ground pound, this is back forward 3, and the ground pound is a low, also enhanceable for a full screen low, just so I know. Also really good in counter zoning. You might not think about it, right? But as he goes low to the ground, he actually low profiles projectiles. Most projectiles, fireballs in this game are highs, so you know you can neutral duck them, and since he goes so low to the ground anyways, you can on reaction just kind of EX ground pound. Faster fireballs might recover quick enough to block, yes, unfortunately, but it is still a tool in the arsenal. Now on top of that here we have, well, the hop, basically, that's what I call it. So back forward 4 here, and this is range controllable, so you can go close, you can go medium, or you can go quite far, as you can see here. Also enhanceable. And one of the best things about the enhancement here, besides actually looking really cool, because I really dig him just unloading on you, it only ever comes out on hit, so you can always just go for it. And if it hits, it happens if it's blocked, whatever, right? And this move is also safe on block. So if you're trying to go for, like, you know, a double overhead off F2 or something, conversely, you could also go, like, you know, overhead into a low as well, right? But if you're going for double overhead and they both get blocked, hey, whatever. Like, you got a block, you know, it's not your turn anymore, but there's no definite punish coming your way. The move is completely safe on block, and that is very handy. And the third thing we have on this variation here is we have an anti-air grab. And this anti-air grab is also a combo extender. So you can choose to let it rock and, you know, it'll hit, right? But you can also extend your combos. And this is the big thing here, as this variation Destroyer has basically the easiest and most damaging combos of all 3 variations. You can get a lot of, you know, weird pressure grabs and Dark Fate variation. You get a lot of weird, you know, frame advantage setups and the grenades and Final Judgment. But if you're just looking for big, easy damage, thanks to the way the grab works, this is the variation for it. Now, as you see here, this is going to be a very basic combo, but just to show you just the effect of this here, right? Very basic, almost 37%, very high for mid-screen damage, to say the least, right? So yeah, you get easy, big combos. If you have 2 bars, you can very easily just do a second one. The bounce is always the same regardless of gravity scaling. It's just the additional hits that get affected by gravity scaling. So you can just spend your bar, get well over 40%, no fuss, no muss. So it's probably oh, there's no probably about it. It's definitely the most basic of the 3 variations. Well, with it just coming with, like, you know, another overhead, another low, and the just extra damage. But once again, basic's never a bad thing. I've said this in many videos over the years. Basic's not a bad thing. And plus, you know, hey, like extra utility, like low profiling projectiles. If you're fighting like a Garrus or something with a low sand pit, this easily goes over low sand pit. Once again, it's completely safe on block, so there's very little risk to go for it and save the Garrus matchup. That kind of stuff, and just say more damage. So if you're looking just to get your feet wet here without doing some of the more advanced stuff, this is a perfectly fine and good variation. So next up is the Dark Fate variation, and this is the one that's very heavily focused on command grabs. So in this specific variation here, we have 3 new moves here. And first, and probably the biggest of which, is the fact that the basic command grab has changed up into the I'll Be Back Breaker. So the I'll Be Back Breaker here, it does the same base damage, and if I don't touch anything else, it kind of winds up the same way, right? But the thing is, I can always choose what direction I'm going to be tossing you in for 1, which is a big deal here. And also, it is enhanceable for more damage. And it also has a crushing blow. So if I do every possible permutation here, so non-EX, throw you in back. Non-EX, throw you in front. EX, throw you in front. And then say if I do EX, throw you in back. It becomes a launching crushing blow from which you can do all sorts of stuff, right? So that new crushing blow potential is a big deal because it's a very reasonable crushing blow to get over the course of a match. Not to say you'll get it every game, right? Because it's not easy peasy mode like, say, the shotgun crushing blow. But it's still reasonable enough to get, and the potential for the combo damage and just the everything is a game changer, to say the least, right? So, hey, your light command grabs, the command grab's better. Also, in this version here, it does have a fair bit more range, just to see here. And you also, like, say, dash cancel it here, and just, like, really just go across the screen and get people. So our next move in this variation is the bear hug, and this is an air-to-air grab. So the enemy does have to be jumping for this to work, or otherwise just be airborne. You can also launch them, right? And once you're air-to-air, you grab them and you break their back and you send them chucking. Also, you do have the opportunity here. You can choose, just like the previous move here, you can choose what direction you want to toss them in. And this is special cancelable here, so I can hit him with like a air move, air-to-air. And I can cancel right into it and just go from there. So it's very handy, gets you a bit of extra damage on an air-to-air conversion. Also, it is enhanceable. So if I grab him here and enhance it, either I can leave him standing and enough frames to jail at, or I can just combo directly. Now, to combo directly, you do have to basically hit your buttons like right after the X flash, but you can do whatever you want, right? Like I can go right into, say, the forward 3-2. And that is a natural combo and it bounces. Now keep in mind, it does have a little bit of gravity scaling. So if you launch them off a big combo or something, and then you get a bunch of hits in, you restand them with the Bear Hug EX and go forward 3-2, you'll find the bounce is nowhere near as good as the regular version of the bounce, and you might not be able to get anything. So you're going to have to tailor your combos with that in mind, but still. Also, it is a combo move besides that, right? So say the 4-3-4 crushing blow, right? So you can instant air hop, and then just recombo them on the way down after you EX bear hug them. That one's a little execution intensive, just so you know. You're going to have to practice it, but it's for this variation, it's the optimal way to go in this combo route. So just, hey, give it a try. But yeah, so once again here, we got a grab on the ground here with the backbreaker. We got another grab in the air, and let's finish it off with yet another grab, because it's all about the grabs, right? And we got the running man. So this is a stance. And he just runs, right? So, hey, once again, we talked about how 50-50s are the overhead, low, all that makes it like MKX here. Well, nothing makes it MKX like running, right? And from there, you can kick, you can punch, and you can chuck a guy. And that is a true throw, by the way. It's a mid-throw, no ducking. And, of course, yeah, he can just cancel it. So, most of the time here, mid-screen, it's either going to be the throw or the kick. The punch is serviceable, and it launches, but it's only going to be of any value in the corner, as you can't combo from it mid-screen. In the corner, you can definitely get your combos, right? Now, the boot is also a mid for the command run, while the punch is a high, just so you know. The boot is also safe. So basically, you can force a lot of situations like this, where, say, I go forward 4, cancel the running man, and from there, okay, guess attack, or guess throw, and if you guess wrong, you get hit, right? Because either you block or you jump. That's basically the only way out, because it does jail. And that's just one example. But yeah, so it's a very strong tool, to say the least. So yeah, this guy, in the end, is all about the throws, and just basically takes his strengths and just amplifies them even further. So the last of our 3 competitive variations is Final Judgment. It only has 2 special moves, but they're pretty much bangers, so don't worry about that. We have the Incapacitator, first and foremost. And you might notice here, before anything else, it says unblockable, and hey, that's the case. So this move cannot be blocked in any way, shape, or form. You will always take 3%. Now, it's a high, so you can duck it or just otherwise, not be in the way. But if you are in the way and you blocked, hey, you're still taking 3% and leaves you with this nice little debuff. Now, one thing to note here, it does replace the shotgun, so you won't get any of the benefits of having the shotgun. It's okay, keep that in mind. But let's talk about that debuff. So while the debuff is on, you can in no way, shape, or form burn bar. So that means no enhanced moves, that means no fancy combos if they smack you, and conversely, say you are on the ground, you are the one who is getting hit, right? And you have this debuff on you, that means no rolls, that means no wake-ups, that means no nothing, that means you just got to get up like a regular character, right? So this is a move where you definitely could sacrifice a little bit of combo damage at the end to toss them, and then you control and own their wake-up. As they can't roll out, they can't wake up 2, they can't wake up 3 or anything like that, they just got to wake up normal, and then of course, Terminator being 50-50 character, they might have to submit to whatever 50-50 you want to put them through, right? So it's very good in that regard. Let's talk about the star of the variation though, and that is the Ion Grenade. That's this guy here. Now you might have noticed here, I'm not burning any bar. I still get, you know, a big old launch. I can definitely do whatever I want after that launch. Now I can spin a bar and it'll explode right away, and that's kind of the big thing here in this variation, as since it doesn't explode right away, you can do all sorts of setups and all sorts of pressure options. As just so you know, this move here is ridiculously advantage on block. As you can see here, it's a nice 34 frames of advantage, right? So I can toss it on your wake up, and ooh, you just gotta respect it with a lot of the setups, which we'll go over. And once again here too, I choose explode it right away. Now you might notice here how negative that is. It's only -4, so I can go like forward 4, and say then, okay, I'm going to go forward 4 and grenade, and I get a true combo if this hits, right? And if it blocked, well, then it's -4, and we're this far away, so it's like nothing, right? So it's basically win-win. There's very little risk involved on Terminator's behalf to do something like this, where he'll go for it and then enhance the grenade, launch. If it hits, great. If not, whatever. Like, that's basically no real commitment from me. The close one's a little more negative, but still with the pushback -11, there's no punish involved. It's just, you know, the frames are a little less advantageous towards you, to be sure. But yeah, man, grenade's such a good move. Also in a counter zoning war here, while the far one doesn't explode right away, the far EX, you can definitely catch people sleeping with that, because it's ripping quick, to say the least. So yeah, this variation in the end, while the incapacitator is cool and there's a lot of fun stuff involved with that, absolutely yes, the grenade is the heart and soul of this variation. Now, which of these 3 variations is the best variation? And honestly, this is a hard one to call. For a good large chunk of the cast, you ask me 3 variations, which one's the best one, I can give you an answer in a split second, because like one's obviously better than the other 2, right? The thing with this for Terminator is all 3 variations set out to do what they want to do. They managed to accomplish it, right? They're good at what they want to do. The one is even heavier on 50-50s, as well, having a little bit of extra stuff and, you know, having easy high damage combos. Mecha Zangief here, this is my variation name for Dark Fate here, the grappling variation, doubles down on the grappling and is very successful at that. And Final Judgment is now all about like set play and pressure, right? So they all accomplished what they sought out to do. Now, I guess since I'm making this video and I'm making this segment, I gotta pick a winner, so I will say Dark Fate, the grappling variation. If I had to edge it out to one of them, this is the one that will get the bonus and get the big win, because basically I feel the fact that it has the extra crushing blows off the base command grab off the tackle, and the tackle one, despite it being worded the way it is, you can circumvent it and get it like in combos, which maybe not intended, but whatever, it works out the way it works. So the extra crushing blows is really good, keeps the shotgun, and the shotgun is an unsung hero in this game. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. But yeah, so if I had to give it to one, the grappling one, I would give it to as the overall winner, but this is in no way, shape, or form to dismiss the other 2, because I think they're both completely fantastic. All 3 variations for Terminator are completely viable picks. So now, before we get to the rest of the guide here, I want to talk about back and 2. So back 2, on paper, looks amazing, especially for combos, right? It rejuggles, because it already launches by itself, 7%, and yeah, you can get a lot of stuff done, right? And I see a lot of combos, I don't know, just like B3 after B3 after B3 after B3, and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, I'm not going to say never use it in combos, but watch out. So I'm just going to show you an example here of why you should watch out. So hey, back 3, 7%, right? A down 1, 2%. So 70 damage versus 20 damage. So I'm going to do a combo with 2 back 2s and a combo with 2 down 1s, and let's see which one does more damage. Alright, so this one did 287 with 2 back 2s. And now 293 with 2 down 1s. So what happened here, right? Obviously, back 2 is a much more damaging move than down 1, so how come I did more damage with the down 1s? And that's how combo scaling works in this game. The reason this happened the way it happened is because back 2 is a launcher. So what happens when you start a combo? Launchers scale a lot harder than non-launcher moves, especially once you're in the middle of a combo, right? So the fact that I'm adding more launchers over and over to my combo, after the combo is already started, the damage scaling gets much, much, much larger than it would otherwise be. That's why a much less damaging move wound up doing more damage overall. So, not to say never use back 2 in combos, but just find out sometimes when back 2 isn't the optimal way. Try your combo with back 2, and then maybe try it without it, because you might find a lot of combos do much less damage if you start adding back 2s to it, especially like using a lot of your big crushing blows and stuff, right? So just, it's a heads up, keep in mind, it's a great extender for combos, but you will find yourself doing less damage overall sometimes if you rely on it too much. So let's talk Terminator Shotgun. So he has it in 2 of the 3 competitive variations. He just doesn't have it in Final Judgment, sadly. This move is overlooked, I find. So first and foremost, yes, 31 frame startup is not the fastest projectile, right? But one of the things that I don't really see people talk about is it's a beam. So if you know beams in other fighting games, it travels at all points at the same time. So yes, it's 31 frame startup, but it's 31 frame startup to hit from here, and only takes 31 frames to hit from here, right? It hits all points of the screen at the exact same time. So while the base startup is a bit slower, yes, absolutely, 100%, the fact is, it hits all the time, no matter where you are, right? So that's actually really, really good. It's still not the best projectile in the game by any stretch, right? But I don't know, it's a lot more valuable than people give it credit for. And like, that's one of the main reasons right there, right? Another big thing is the frame advantage. Oh my lord. So I know a lot of people don't think about this for a projectile, but for Terminator, because frame advantage is the name of the game, hey, frame advantage, right? So if you're not already aware, he can enhance his move, yes, and he can advance forward, he can advance backwards, or, you know, like he can go back forward once, backwards, and whatever, right? Doesn't matter. So let's take a basic hit confirm string like 1-2-1, right? So 1-2-1, shotgun. Okay, plus 13, but like we're not really that close to do anything about it. We can walk forward a bit and like try to forward, but at that point they can backwards walk out or jump out, whatever, right? But if we do 1-2-1 and a single shotgun EX, now we're plus 16, and hey, we're in range to do stuff about that, right? We can easily, you know, start tapping you with all sorts of fun stuff. So we have the plus 16 frames of advantage, and hey, once again here, 4-4, that's exactly 16 frames. They can't really do anything about it. They can't jump out of it by the time it comes active, all that kind of fun stuff, right? So the shotgun for a single bar, like, you get 20% off a basic hit confirm. The variations that have it don't have the easy grenade launch, right? So they can't really do too much else anyways. And you get your 20% damage, and hey, it's still your turn. Like, from that point here, you can easily take a step forward, 1-2-1 again. They're jailed. They can't do anything about it. You down forward. While it's not a jail, you can then go for the 4-3, 4-2 pressure here, as you are in range to do so, and can just do that. Like, the frame advantage this offers you is incredibly strong, because once again, it doesn't knock them down. There's no roll, there's no nothing. You're here, they're there, okay? Gets 50-50 or gets, you know, into a jail, whatever it is that you're gonna do, right? The ball is in your court. They took a little bit of damage, you know, enough to respect. It's not nothing, right? But it's still your turn, you're still going. They have to now accept what's next, and that's such a big deal. Of course, like, say, without the bar, if you are indeed in the corner, right? If you are in the corner, then all of a sudden that base 13 frames of advantage. So if you did like a base thing and no enhancement, right? 13 frames of advantage, and you're still literally in their face. So it's a big, big, big deal. And of course, too, with this example here, let's you know, do the forward version, because that's the one you want to keep the pressure on, right? You're still close enough to get command grab, right? So like that's another layer. So jailing, pressure, like, it's a big deal. Like, I don't see people talking about this, and it's a big deal, because Terminator has a lot of basic stuff, and like it's difficult for him to get big launches without crushing blows in 2 of the 3 variations, right? Outside of just the 4-3-2 launch. And you're not always going to get that, right? A lot of times, especially if you're scrambling up close, you know, you're going to get your basic hit confirms, like, you know, 1-2-1, back 3-1, all that kind of stuff. So this is going to be a big part of your arsenal, right? And you want to make the most of it. And because Terminator is a pressure character, this enables a lot of your pressure. So please keep this stuff in mind. As once again, this is a thing I don't see people talking about, but to me, it's a massive deal for the character, and you should absolutely add it to your arsenal. So let's just talk jailing and frame advantage in general, right? Terminator, pretty much more than any other character in this game, is just dripping with all sorts of ways to end combos in plus frames, or just be plus in general, and then you lead to all sorts of jailing situations, or just frame advantage situations. And plus, once again, with the omnipresent threat of the 50-50, and you get a combo either way, right? This is such a big deal. So I'm talking like stuff like down 1. So down 1, hey, down 1's 12 frames of advantage, and it's a 6-frame jab, right? And there's almost no characters in the game with 6-frame jabs. So you get your 12 frames advantage here. Jail's in the 1-2-1. Jail's in the 2-1 if you want to get a little more damage and get the hit confirm. You know, jail's in the back 3-1. These are all things that very easily jails into. Then, of course, while it doesn't jail into the overhead or the low, gives you enough frame advantage that they can't really stick buttons through it, right? That's just one layer. You're down 4, which is, once again, a fantastic poke here. Plus 13 frames. So while it has pushback, so unless you're in corner, it's not going to jail anything, it still gives you plenty of time to dash forward, forward 4, something like that. Back 1 to like a special cancel, which we'll talk about later on. Like, there's a lot of opportunities here, and that's just basic frame advantage. Once again, the shotgun, we gave it a whole section, but just to read it real quick here. Basic shotgun blast plus 13. You can do it in the corner here. You can do it off a basic hit confirm string. Hey, plus 13, or you want to burn 1 bar and enhance, you're plus 16 now, and you're plus 16 the spinning distance to either get more jails with a dash 1-2-1, or, you know, once again, threaten overhead low because you're in range for that kind of stuff. Just all over the place. Plus frames, plus frames, plus frames. The basic command grab has the enhancement here where we can enhance and then restand them, right? That's plus 10 frames of advantage right there. So once again, while mid-screen's not going to lead to hard jailing situation, you can dash forward and do whatever pressure you want. If you do happen to be in the corner, then hey, then we lead to those true jailing situations. Jails in the stand 1-2-1. Since the command grab is 11 frames, if I do this right here and like literally go for it again, if you were doing anything other than neutral ducking, you just got hit by it, right? Like, if you were scared of the jail, you're blocking, you got hit by it, and you should be scared of the jail because then, you know, once again, then we just go into this, more pressure, more jailing, and it just repeats forever. Once again, Terminator is all about pressure, and everything leads to everything, basically, and it's such a big deal for the character. So please, if you're not the kind of person who learns their frame data, this is the guy you're going to learn it on. Like, just go to your practice options here, where it says frame data, you can turn on right now. So normally it's default off, turn it on player 1, or, you know, both players, whatever. But at least turn on player 1 so you can see all these fancy numbers. Because Terminator's going to live and die by these numbers because his pressure is so dependent on just frame traps, jailing, just frame advantage in general. And you want to know, like, okay, if I am plus 13 in their face, this is what the basic jailing is, right? If I go stand 1, 7 frames, that means they have no way out other than block. They can't hit a button, they can't jump. If you already know jailing, I'm sorry to re-explain it, but, you know, for the people who don't know what jailing really is, it's the basic thing. If the movement comes in faster than the hit advantage says, there's literally no option and no way out other than the whole block. They try to do literally anything else, it hits. And for Terminator, okay, back in the blender, let's keep going and just go from there, right? It's such a big deal for the character. Please, please, please learn it. So tick throws, let's talk about them here. So tick throws, very important concept for anyone who has a command grab in pretty much any fighting game. In the Mortal Kombat sense here, if I make you block a move, and then I immediately go for my command grab here, and if you block the move, I grabbed you, right? As simple as that. You could technically block, let go, block right away, but realistically that almost never happens, as tick throws happen in a blink of an eye. No one's going to have time to react to that. And we got 3 tick throws to work with. One is down 1. So if I do down 1, go right into grab, it'll get you. And as an example of a tick grab that wouldn't work, like say stand 1-2 here. So if I go stand 1-2 and it'll go into my grab here, it won't connect, right? Because that is not tick grab. So down 1, down 3, and yes, it's the funky kick. So down 3 does tick grab, just so you know. And forward 3. And forward 3 is a really big deal because that's the one attached to the overhead, right? So this guy here is a move that can tick grab into your command grab. And since it leads to a lot of weird interactions, because, you know, people are either going to try to match buttons, and if you try to match buttons, then the grab will beat it. If they try to, you know, try to block, well then, hey, you're getting it got. This is a situation here to keep in mind too, where if they do this, they let go block or something and get past the grab, then they can get conked by the overhead. For this specific grab here, there is an option select to get around it, but it loses to just doing basic stuff. Like if you do a 4-3 special cancel, or just anything else besides, you know, this specific mix, the option select loses. So don't sweat it too much, basically. But yeah, basically, long story short, if you know they're gonna block, you go for your move, go for your command grab after the block, and you get it easy peasy, and you dunk on them something fierce. So now let's talk more in depth about the grenades here, because once again, in the Final Judgment variation, grenades are life. If you're not playing for the grenades, don't play this variation, right? They are so good. So first and foremost here, one thing to note is there's a bit of a cooldown. So if I toss a grenade, toss another grenade here, now I try to toss a third grenade, hey, it's not coming out. So on Terminator's pocket here, on his side here, you can see the grenades on his leg here, and when they are chucked from his side of his leg here, they actually leave the pocket. There's no more grenades, right? And you can see them kind of respawn slowly. So there is a bit of a cooldown. Also, the capacitator here also counts as a grenade for that purposes. It regenerates just a little bit faster, but if you use an incapacitator and regular grenade, that's your 2 grenades, no longer can shoot them, just so you know. Also, the ground pound in the destroyer variation also counts as using grenades. So you can't do multiple ground pounds in a row, right? So keep that mechanic in mind. But now let's just talk pressure, because that's the name of the game. Because once again here, if you look at that grenade here, you see how plus that is? That's very plus, right? And it has a lot of active frames, meaning it can cover wake-ups very easily. So give you one basic example here real quick. So here's a very basic example to show you. So if I go for my forward 3-2 launch, and then I'll pop them up, dash 1-2-1, grenade toss. So at this point here, I didn't burn any bar, I still got 20%, right? And that's some basic pressure. So I can do this, and then if it launches, then great, I'll combo you, right? Like I can do kind of just whatever I want. I can just smack you all over, right? Obviously nowhere near an optimal combo, but just to show you that, you know, you got to deal with it. And if you try to hit buttons, if you try to jump, you know, whatever, you're going to get smacked. There are a couple options out of it, mainly delayed wake-ups and the rolls. But even something like you want to go for your invincible up 3 here. So if you go for your invincible up 3, this guy right here. So we're going to use Devora's, right? So if we go for it, it hits meaty enough that the invincibility frames run out, right? So that's very important in the corner as well. Now, one thing to note here, this specific setup in the corner. So this specific setup, Devora will do her invincible wake up and smack me, and the grenade goes off at the same time and then launches. I get a combo, right? If you, for whatever reason, get hit before the grenade explodes, you will lose the grenade. Keep that in mind. It's a kind of a big deal, right? But it's just one of the options. Also, you can get like really cute with a lot of gimmicks, like say I am going to do my universal overhead on you, right? If I do my universal overhead and do close grenade toss. So, as you see, that by itself, it didn't work, right? But if I expected you to block, right? So if I knew you were going to block it and go from there, it can confuse people, is what I'm saying. Like, they could hit you, if they knew exactly what happened, they could hit you with a down one fast enough to cancel the grenade, but otherwise, then they just got a groove on it, and if they try to hit any button other than the fastest possible timing, hey, it explodes, go from there. And of course, since you're anticipating the block, once again, look at those advanced frames. They're plus 27 in their face. There's literally nothing they can do about the next whatever you can dream up, right? Now, that one right there is a bit gimmicky, but just an idea, right? You want to have the non-EX grenades just explode and give you the stupid amount of plus frames they do. Let's give you an idea here for another setup real quick. Now, we talked about how, hey, you know, a delayed get-up can definitely beat it, right? But we have ways around that. So say we know they're a smart cookie, they're going to try to delay get up. Once again, this has so many active frames. So we can do a combo like this. Alright, smart cookie. Hey, hit you on the last active frame. There you go. So if I know you're going to delay wake up, I can still change my combo around just a little bit to punish it. And if you block, well, whatever. I'm plus a billion. Let's go. I can do whatever I want to you. And if not, hey, it's combo time, right? So I'm going to tell you right now, this is one of the least explored things about the character as of time of me making this video. And I'm sure there will be a lot of advancements to come in terms of just pressure and set play and all that kind of fun stuff, right? This is a character, like, since you have your grenades and, you know, they explode and launch, right? You know what? When you can get your combo, take your combo too. Like, don't be afraid to take your combo, right? Keep in mind, you know, as long as you have that second grenade, you can end your combo in any specific way you so choose. And then, you know, just try to punish them for waking up, all that kind of stuff. Like, try to invent your own setups. There's a lot of untapped potential out there. There's a lot of stuff we're still figuring out. This is just to give you an idea, right? That a basic combo into, you know, unfinished combo, to be sure, like you're not getting the most optimal damage, but into a grenade ender, and then hey, I own your wake up, right? And yeah, you have a couple ways around it, but I have a couple ways around your couple ways around it, right? So play around with it. This has a lot of potential, and this is one of the things, like, while I did say earlier, I think the command grab variation is overall the strongest, I think this is the one with the most untapped potential and could definitely be the version in the version of the variation to play in the future, because yo, this stuff's strong. So, switching up our variations here, let's talk about the Dark Fade variation and the run, and specifically, run canceling. So, run canceling here does cost you a defensive bar, so it's not free, but it does lead to a lot of interesting scenarios here. I guess the big one here, let's just talk about back one here. So, back one, it's an oddball normal, so it's a launcher and a grab all in one, right? I don't gotta do anything special, it just does it, right? But the back one part is special cancelable, so I can back one into a run, right? And as you see here, I just clear go the other side. So, you know, that's not working out so good for me right there, right? But I can back one and then run cancel. So I can do something like that, and hey, that looks like something that might work, right? And hey, sure enough, it does. So why back one besides that? Well, back one is a 13 frame mid with serviceable range, so it actually makes it an exceptional whiff punisher, or just a good move to toss out if you're roughly in this distance and you're just looking to speed out your enemy, right? So in that, it's very good. Also, before we get into the meat of this here, if they are blocking, right? It's only -3 on block. That's barely negative. And especially because you got a down one at 6 frames, right? You can really abuse and just go nuts and then go for there, right? Go for broke off just a regular cancel. Because it's so barely negative, hey, you can still try to steal a turn back. So that's already good. So yes, once again, keep in mind before we get any further, you got to burn a defensive bar. If you don't got a defensive bar, you can't run cancel. So you might just do this in their face and that won't work for you, right? But yeah, let's just talk about combo potential. So let's just show you a quick combo here. So back one into a run cancel, then back 3-1 into a command grab here. So quick 20%, right? And once again, low commitment, barely negative on block. All you gotta do is burn defensive bar, and if you get the hit, then hey, that's great, fantastic, right? So you can easily combo after it. 1-2-1 as well. It's a little bit easier on the timing. If you want to try it, does a little bit less damage, right? But these are just some of the things that are possible, right? And it just opens up new combo routes because Dark Fate variation otherwise doesn't have a traditional launcher, right? You know, it doesn't have the relaunches like the air grab. It doesn't have the pop-up like the grenade and the other variations. So when you're looking for a launcher, this is basically what you got. And you got to work a little bit harder, right? Because you got to burn resource, you know, until you get the timing. Like, even I drop it all a couple times, you know. Until you get the timing, it can be a tricky thing to do. But it's a viable thing, and it's a tool set you have in this variation other variations don't have. Run canceling is also an important tool in quite a few other ways here. So say we do forward 4 into run, right? So forward 4 into the run, into the boot is all a true block string. They gotta accept it. If I do forward 4 into the run, hey, it's into the tackle, it's a tick grab effectively, and they can't escape it only by jumping out. They can't hit any buttons, they can't do anything else other than jump out. And at which point you can just let yourself run a hot second, cancel it, and if they are trying to jump out, you have the read on them, right? Then you can either bear hug them back down to the ground, you can uppercut, like whatever you want to do, right? So it is also very important for the mind game factor, especially because once again, especially in this variation, I find forward 4 into run is a very big tool. It's a single hit confirm as well, because you have a lot of time to see if it actually hit before you go to the boot, and if not, then you can throw the tackle boot mix. And that's just another layer to the mix, because once again, if you call them trying to jump, then you can get so much more damage than just the simple boot with them trying to hold up, right? And that's all thanks on the back of the run cancel. So once again, there's a lot of layers to it, and it's just an eminently interesting and usable part of this moveset. Now, keeping with the Dark Fate variation, there's a very important thing you need to know here, and that is about the crushing blow on the tackle. Because if we go to the move itself here, it states how the crushing blow works, but it's not technically correct here. So it says here, the crushing blow on the enhanced version of the tackle triggers if the attack connects from a far distance here, after running a far distance, right? So you would think, well, hey, okay, I'll run from a far distance, do it, and then I'll get it, right? And in that case, hey, that's absolutely correct. That is not wrong. But what it really actually is trying to say here is it counts the steps traveled, not so much how far you actually started running away from, right? So if you do it here in their face and then run them out the correct amount of steps you need, you still get it, right? And why this is very applicable, because you don't want to do this in their face, like they're going to smack you, right? So you don't want to do it just raw in their face, but there's a lot of combo potential. So just to give you a very basic example in the corner, that's pretty much universal against the whole cast. So we'll do the forward 3-2 starter here, as basic gets. And as we talked about in the earlier section with the cancels here, we're going to do a back one, canceled into a run. So, and this will give us basically enough momentum in the air to let us run our happy little feet as long as we can, and we'll get the crushing blow. And here we are, one crushing blow served up, over 40%, right? And you can do this all off a lot of stuff. Like if you get a basic uppercut crushing blow, right? Back one, run, and then just wait a second, tackle, EX, and boom, that's like almost 50% right then and there off such a simple thing. I got a couple examples in the combo guide, which you can see at the end of the video. This is a big deal. Once again, one of the big things about this variation is it has extra crushing blows over the other variation, and it is eminently realistic and reliable for you to do basic combos and get the max distance run into this crushing blow and just enhance your combo damage by a significant amount, right? So it will take you a bit of practice, right? Because you have to basically run and then tackle at the end of that run, right? So if you do it a bit too early, you're not going to get the crushing blow. You'll still get your damage, right? And if your timing's a little off, you'll just whiff the tackle entirely, and then yeah, you drop your combo. No one wants that, right? So give it a practice. But once again, this is practical. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about it, right? Because I tend not to talk about the weird edge case stuff. It's very practical. Give it a shot. It's one of the biggest feathers in this variation's cap. Now, as for your basic game plan, hey, it's pretty basic, because it's to bulldog your way in. Plus frames, plus frames, plus frames, plus frames, plus frames, plus frames. Advantage, advantage, advantage. Jail, jail, jail. Like, that's basically the long and short of it. This guy, he wants to sink his teeth into you, and then he's never going to let go. He's a true fighting game bulldog. Now, as for everything else, you know, that's when everything's working. That's best case scenario, right? And, well, hey, best case scenario, it doesn't always go out the way you want it to go out, right? When you're winning, that's awesome, but, you know, that's not always going to happen, right? So let's talk about a commonly held problem I see for Terminator. In fact, he gets zoned out. So, in a pure zoning war, shotgun, it's a tool. You can use it, but it's definitely not going to beat the people with, like, the actually good projectiles, right? So a lot of people, you got to walk and block. And I know that's annoying, but it's a fact of life, right? The Destroyer variation, he can bypass it a little bit better than the other two, because once again, he has the ground pound. The ground pound does low profile, all high hitting projectiles. So if you are on the ball, you can react, smack them, and, you know, just going from there, because once they are knocked down, because it has a decent amount of knockdown, start dashing in and get your screen back, right? And conversely, people have low hitting stuff, you know, like a Gare Sandpit. You can just literally not respect that stuff at all, as the hop just goes over all that stuff. Anything that travels on the ground at all, or even stuff that is stationary, like say a Cetrion Water Pillar, while she's beginning her startup, you're in her head just clocking her, right? So this variation, more so than the other two, has some ways around getting that classic zoned out problem. And yes, you have the move that can absorb all sorts of fireballs, but since the startup is a bit slow, and hey, it doesn't like move you forward or nothing, right? It's not necessarily the best tool to rely on. But all in all, you are going to have to earn your way in, right? Terminator's game plan really only effectively starts once he's like mid-range, because then he starts having the good buttons like forward 4 and stuff like that, right? So if you're the kind of character who gets heavily frustrated off, you know, zoning keeping you out, you might have to find a different character. At the very least, pick Destroyer so he can like at least have some counter zoning capability, because the other two, you just gotta walk and block your way in. Now, once you're already working your way in, you know, once again, 4-4 is really good. Also, a weird unsung hero I haven't really seen, especially people are just expecting the forward form, you know, blocking, all that kind of stuff. Dash into command grab, actually, it's got some range to it. The command grab itself has higher than average range, and if you just dash in and go and special cancel, you dash into it, it's kind of like counter canceling something in Street Fighter, right? You just kind of zip right to them and you just grab them. So don't use it all the time, because once again, it's very susceptible to just someone neutral ducking and uppercutting it or whatever, right? But it is a tool to keep in mind. And of course, once again, the whole totality of this video was basically to show you what to do once you're in, because once again, plus frame, jail, all that kind of fun stuff. That is the stuff you need to worry about once you're in. You got, well, you know, an amazing down 1, a great down 4. You can get, you know, restand pressure here and combo out. Like, pressure is the name of the game, and no matter what variation, you have different ways to get around to the pressure with each variation, but pressure is still the name of the game in each variation. And I suppose that's the end of the video. So Terminator, in the end, I think is a downright decent character. Once again, not top tier necessarily, because, you know, unlike a lot of top tier characters, like as we went over just in the general game plan, like he kind of suffers a bit from a range, right? A lot of, although not all of, the topper tier characters tend to do well at every point of the screen, right? Terminator excels up close. He's serviceable in the mid-range, and he's not much of a threat anything past that, right? That said, pressure, bulldog. That's the name of the game for this guy, so that's what you want to do. If you like chucking fools, if you like pressure, if you like 50-50s, this is your guy. This is the character that's just all about that. He is, you know, traveled back from the future to now, a living embodiment of an MKX character in Mortal Kombat 11. If you loved a lot of the ways MKX work, hey, this is the guy. He even has running, right? In one of the variations, you can straight up run, right? So if you want that kind of style of gameplay, this is the guy for it. If you want a hardcore zoner, go somewhere else. If you want a neutral lord, he's not the worst, but there's definitely better characters to pick, like Kotal Khan or Collector, right? But yeah, this guy, he's the Terminator. He's going to walk you down, and then termination is inevitable, right? That's really all I can say about it. So anyways, my friends, hope you enjoyed the guide, and that is it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.